Today is April 18th, 2025. I'm on Live Oak Drive in Dayton. We're doing a sewer camera inspection. I'm on the roof. Access point is actually going to be this vent stack. Primarily, why we're talking about this is because a house of this age that's on a slab foundation does not customarily have an access, or what we refer to as a clean out, in the yard or in the house. That's just something specific to this age. I have looked, I have been unable to come up with anything. That's not perfect, of course. It could be under the ground, under the tall grass, somewhere that I can't see. But again, I'm used to not being able to find them. So we're gonna try this vent stack as an option to get into our sewer line. Sometimes this works, but this is kind of a workaround, if you will, to get us access. We'll drop in here and see what we get. So of course, the first portion of this is just dropping vertically from the roof down behind the bathtub and into the piping. And so far we're doing good. All right, so there you see we've got about 13 feet. I just took the corner, and so I'm going to reset the footage counter there. And that way when we count the footage from this point, we'll have horizontal run, underneath the foundation of the house and the front yard, instead of, vertical drop footage equated in there as well. So cast iron piping, typical life expectancy about 100 to 125 years. I do believe, based on what I'm seeing here, that this pipe has been cleaned out. What we see in cast iron typically is that the piping will have some corrosion buildup, and then that corrosion becomes kind of flaky, kind of like what you see here, where it's kind of filled in at the bottom, where you can't tell that the pipe's round. It's just kind of flat, and that's just kind of sloughy grease, softener scum, and a little bit of corrosion associated there. All right, so we've traveled about 25 feet. Now we see a transition here from cast iron to terracotta clay pipe. This is very normal for this age. So what you have is cast iron under the foundation. The idea is the weight of the house is sitting on it. We want a robust, heavy-duty pipe, cast iron, underneath the house. And then we're going to cheapen it up a little bit when we get out into the front yard. And that's where we use the clay pipe. So, and unfortunately, right here from the get-go, we do have some issues. So if you see here, clay pipe customarily gets installed in 3-foot sections. They can cut them down and make them a little bit smaller, but we have a crack that's formed here. And this is a pretty common area that I see a crack, if I'm being honest. Basically what you have is you have a very rigid cast iron pipe that is coming out of the foundation, and then you have a clay pipe that is sitting in the soil, where the soil can kind of raise and fall at its own accord. And ultimately what you see here is that clay pipe is trying to flex or move or settle just a little bit, but it's because it's connected to that cast iron, it can't, and then it cracks and breaks it. So that's what you see down here at the bottom, and that kind of mud pie that's coming in over here on the right. So the downfall of this is that, I joke with people and say, hey, look, this crack didn't start last night, so I'd have something to talk about. It's been here for a while. How long? Can't tell you. But, anytime that we talk about a crack, that is ultimately a liability. Furthermore, if you're talking about your risk taking, we don't want to see cracks that happen in the area where water flow happens. So if you think about it, the bottom 50% of this pipe is where water flow occurs. And so water is constantly touching this every time you wash dishes, every time you flush the toilet. That's important because water is trying to fight its way through these cracks into the soil. Little bits of soil being washed away, eroding, undermining the pipe, and eventually the pipe may not be supported enough, causing for that pipe to continue to shift and crack and settle further and making things worse. So my job is to risk eliminate. This is a risk. I suggest that a repair be completed here by a licensed plumber. So no signs of trees in this front yard, but some of this stuff we see coming into the seams there sure look like a little bit of roots, but not enough to be of a concern. A little bit more roots here. You can see they're coming in at this seam, growing laterally down the pipe, and that is pretty decent amount. You can see there's little pieces and particles of toilet paper hung up in these roots, and that is enough for me to call for a cleaning here. I'm okay with some stuff inside the pipe, there's no doubt. But when we get to the point where we can't, we've got tenants and things inside here, and we can't control what they're flushing down the toilet in the first place, and then on top of that, we have hindrances like some roots, we're just asking for a recipe of a clog to occur. This root does appear to still be alive, and so it has the chance to continue to grow and get larger, so I surely don't want that to happen either. So this pipe will need a cleaning as well. And then as we get further in, more evidence of those roots. Trying to shove past here. I think I've got a hitchhiker, potentially. Hang tight with me here. We're going to send it to the street at this point. So I'm just rolling through here super fast, hot and heavy, until we hit the street connection. Then we'll come back. I stopped there about 45 feet. So we'll just make sure we review that here real quick. Get some rags, get this camera getting pulled back out here in just a second. Definitely looks like there's some additional comments that I'm gonna need to be made just based on that, like I said, fast and heavy. So here we are, city connection point, total distance of about 83 feet. We have additional pieces of debris inside the pipe that could definitely benefit from that cleaning that I've already discussed. You see right here, the ceiling of the pipe in this area has a lot of like white junk. That's because at some point this portion of the pipe backed up. And so when the water receded, that's some of the junk that was left behind. Some additional roots in this area. We're getting back to almost about where we left off. All right, so that gets us back, and that makes us whole for the inspection now. So in generalities, what we've got here, needed cleaning, and we also need to address the pipe that is at the front foundation wall and the connection point to the cast iron at the foundation because of the crack. Those are our two primary goals of this inspection. This was Nick, Porch Light Home Inspections.